It's time to go dirt track racing here in the Duracell Cup Series second season. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here as we are at the Springfield Mile. Others know it as the Illinois State Fairgrounds. It's a mile track covered in dirt, and it certainly brings about some very exciting finishes. Last year brought about a really exciting finish that basically came down between three drivers: Benny Watson, James Qualls, and the eventual winner, Dylan Poteet. Well, Dylan Poteet is not in the field this season, so we are guaranteed a new winner here at the Springfield Mile in Season 2. It's our 7th race of the season, the Harley-Davidson 500. 50 laps of racing here today, and we're definitely going to see who are the good dirt track racers here today, of who's going to be able to make their way through the field, or for these drivers that qualified up at the front, if they'll be able to stay up at the front. It's Toyota, completing the entire podium as Matt Haas lines up on the pole position. Matt Haas comes into this race currently situated in the 26th position in points, and he becomes the first driver to sit on the pole more than once this season. He will start alongside of Ryan Butcher, coming off a great run, a top 10 run last week at Bristol. Ryan Butcher, after that top 10 finish, jumped to 23rd in points, and Cody Lamas finished runner-up to the eventual winner at Bristol last week, Jose Mills, as he jumped up in the standings to 14th, and he will roll off 3rd for today's race. It's going to be very interesting here today in terms of what takes place on track, but also on pit road. The one thing I do have an issue with on this track is when drivers come and hit pit lane, the way that the cars come to pit lane, they hit that steel guardrail, and that causes them to have a little bit longer of a stay on pit lane. I'm not sure if that's going to happen here today. Hopefully not. And we'll also see if this race will be a long green flag run or caution filled. Let's go down and get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as the command is given, you look on the right side of your screen, you will see your starting grid for today's race. We'll give you your top 10 the points coming into this race, as Benjamin Miles is now the new points leader, 6 points in hand over William Brock. Ryan Acosta dropped to 3rd after last week's run at Bristol. He's 10 points out. Jordan Lopez, 18 points back in 4th, and Seth Cole, who rolls off from the 5th position here today. He is 5th in the standings, 25 points out of the top position. Rookie Marcus Sachi is now up to 6th in points. Charles Samfer in 7th. Mitchell Collins currently 8th. Dylan Young up in 9th. And Matthew Rodriguez, who had a top 5 run last week, is in 10th. Dylan Young, we should mention, he's up in the top 10 in points, and he finished 4th in this event 1 year ago, so watch out for the 2. Our onboard cameras, should we need them, Dodge driver Ryan Brommer, who had a DNF last week at Bristol, has the Pepsi onboard camera. Pole sitter Matt Haas has the Speed Raceway onboard camera. He's a Toyota driver. McDonald's onboard camera on the Chevy driver Jack Mitchell, and the Ford onboard is the NVIDIA onboard camera with Jordan Lopez. Benny Watson, the 75, has our helmet cam today as let's roll at Springfield. Matt Haas, 2-time pole sitter this season now, but would love to be a first-time winner as well as he pulls away with the top position. Ryan Butcher going to slide into 2nd, might be 3 wide. Nope, double wide for 3rd between Cody Lamas and Jack Mitchell going into 3. See them sliding around there, drivers moving from low to middle to low, drivers from high to middle to high, just trying to keep their cars under them, especially on cold tires starting this race. I love when they go down at turn 1. You see the rear end housing kind of kick out on them. Typical of what takes place at a dirt track. You literally slide into the corners. You don't drive into them. Cody Lamas got denied from a victory last week at Bristol. Jose Mills going on to win his first race of the season, but his 5th overall Duracell Cup Series victory. And he still is in a tooth and nail battle there with Jack Mitchell for that 3rd spot. Looks like Mitchell might actually take it on the outside line. So we see that outside line, you're able to straighten up a little bit quicker and get a good straightaway speed, as we nearly had a wreck there for 4th. Mitchell Collins driving it in deep on Cody Lamas. It looks like he will possibly complete that pass for 4th place. Going down here into turn 3. Nope, Lamas battles back on the top side. See if Cody can get the run off the corner, or will Mitchell get back to the gas sooner? And he does. Mitchell Collins, rather, is going to take the 4th spot. As up front, you can see the gap about half a second from Matt Haas back to Ryan Butcher. Matt Haas looking for his first win of the season and of his career. Ryan Butcher looking for his first of the season and second of his career, as he won at the road course of Pensacola last season. Jack Mitchell looking to be a first-time winner as well there in that 01 McDonald's Chevrolet. And we got a good battle back here from 6th on back. That's Zach Rogers, William Brock, Carson Gum, points leader Benjamin Miles in this mix, Seth Cole, Jordan Lopez. Dylan Young's in this also, as they are 3 wide, and ooh boy. And Carson Gum just shook hands with the inside guardrail. He was close enough to do so. And Carson Gum's going to pick up a couple of positions with that 3 wide move. So our Atlanta winner is going to move up from 9th up to about the 6th position, it looks like. And he's got Benjamin Miles right behind him, the points leader in the 33, following in his tire tracks. There is Ryan Brommer, side by side with Dylan Young. That is, I believe, for the 11th spot. Dylan Young now gets kicked up to that outside line. He's going to lose a few positions. As Jordan Lopez now to the inside. There's Michael Norman in the 18 as well. Norman finished a lap down in last week's race at Bristol. That dropped him in the point standings as well, down to 28th. He lost 6 spots after last week's race. Another driver that's actually had a good run last year was Cole Baker, but his finish did not in any way show how good a car he had. I believe he was one of those drivers that ended up having that glitch I talked about where he hit the guardrail coming to pit road during the green flag pit stops and ended up finishing outside of the top 25 in that race. I remember that it was him and I want to say Benny Watson. I think it was he and Benny Watson were mixing it up pretty good in the first half of the race last year. Cole Baker's had 2 really good finishes the last couple of weeks. Finished well at ISM and had a top 10 run last week at Bristol. As he and James Qualls just rubbed doors, and that allowed Marcus Sacchi to drive by the both of them. Marcus Sacchi and Cody Lamas in a very spirited battle for the overall rookie points lead. They both come in tied for the points lead right now. And currently Marcus Sacchi's in 16th. Cody Lamas is up here in the 5th position. Battle right now, best battle, is going on for the 7th spot. And woo, doggy! Jordan Lopez nearly hooked Michael Norman in the left rear quarter panel. And now Lopez trying to take the spot away, as up front a little bit closer. We got a battle for 5th. Carson Gum all over the back bumper of Cody Lamas. Got a nice run there in turn 4, and he will get alongside down the front straightaway. It looks like he might have him cleared by the time they get to turn 1. I think Cody Lamas might have actually just let him go. They just put Johnny Gardner a lap down, so problems for the 14. Not sure what's up with his Hunt Brothers Camry, but it is off the pace. He might have lost a cylinder, which is very possible to do here at a track like this because a lot of shifting goes into play. A lot of drivers, when they go down into the corner, they'll shift to sometimes 3rd, even down to 2nd gear to be able to get a better exit off the corner. And Johnny Gardner might have very well broken a gear, might have a transmission problem, might be stuck in 4th gear all the way around this racetrack. That might be why he's so slow. Just had a change for 2nd. You saw Jack Mitchell make the pass on Ryan Butcher. Now he's got about a 2.5 seconds to make up on the race leader, Matt Haas, in the 8. And he's not going to have to worry about that because the caution flag is out for the first time today. It comes out on lap 11. So that lead that Matt Haas had been able to accumulate, it's gone. Johnny Gardner probably was hoping that that caution would have come out a couple laps sooner. He would have still been on the lead lap. And let's see what brought out the caution. Oh my goodness, it was a driver that was up actually inside the top 20, and that was Dylan Young. Damage on the back of his Wawa Ford. And it looks like he might have very well been the only victim of this yellow flag. And even so, he doesn't have a whole lot of damage. They will have to make sure that the rear of the car is not in any way going to rub the rear tires. But they should be okay. We do have some drivers electing to pit here under this caution. Cody Lamas, Ryan Brommer, and Michael Norman. I want to follow the 84 and the 9 and the 18 just to make sure that they don't have that pit road glitch. See if it happens to him. Slide into the pit stall, and yep, there you see Ryan Brommer hit the pit wall. Lamas did not, but Brommer did. So that means he's probably going to have to teleport into his stall, and that's going to have him have an extended stay on pit road, and that's the one thing I do not like about this particular track is when that happens. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it, though. Very limited number of dirt tracks you can go to that hold 40 race cars, and this is one of those few. Matt Haas leads us under caution, though. Let's go back and see what happened to Dylan Young to bring out the first caution of the day here at the Springfield Mile. Here it was, going down to turn 1. 3 wide with Benjamin Miles in the middle, William Brock up topside, and then Marcus Sachi got a great run. He thinks he wants to stick his nose down in there 4 wide, and it just wasn't enough room. He gets Dylan Young in the left rear quarter panel, and look at this. Wow. How Benjamin Miles and Seth Cole didn't get involved, I don't know. Dylan Young hard on the brakes as the car slides up to the outside wall. He gets it with the right rear of his race car. Fortunately, nobody else hit him. Well, he did have pretty extensive right side damage there that I didn't see in our previous camera shots. So they might have to work a little bit on that race car, but I don't think that's going to be enough to take him out of the race. Tough break there for Dylan Young, though. He had just run his fastest lap of the race and was in the 13th position at the time. Green flag set to come back out here on lap 16 of 50. And the green flag is back in the air. We have 35 laps to go here at Springfield. Matt Haas, the leader. Jack Mitchell, second. Ryan Butcher, third. Mitchell Collins, Carson Gum, your top 5. Then Lopez, Sanford, Brock, Miles, and Cole. That was your top 10. Little difficulty for some of the drivers second on back to get around the slower lap machine of Johnny Gardner, who just ran Jack Mitchell up the track. Not sure Mitchell's going to be very pleased with that. And now Mitchell Collins is going to take second place on the inside line. Ryan Butcher right there with him as well, and Ryan Butcher wants the runner-up spot. He's going to drive it in deep into turn 1. This all going on for the second position. Matt Haas has got to be loving it because you race side by side, the race leader gets to just hit his marks and drive away from you. Charles Sanford up inside the top 10 in the 6th position. The Coke Zero Vanilla Chevrolet, his last 2 finishes. He had that 3rd place run at Phoenix, part of the 1-2-3 S3 Motorsports finish at ISM. And last week he finished 18th. He was involved in the final caution of the day at Bristol, but still managed to finish in the top 20. He's side by side right now with William Brock. That is a battle for 6th place. William Brock and Charles Sanford both coming into this race running very well in the point standings. Sanford 7th, William Brock in 2nd, trying to take the points lead away from Benjamin Miles, who kind of faded back there on that restart. There he is. He's now all the way back. He was 14th last time by, and I think he's back now around 16th or 17th. Yeah, 17th as he crossed the line. Zach Rogers going to get around him for position. Austin LaPlante had a great run last week, a top 10 run at Bristol. That moved him up to 12th in the point standings, and another solid outing here today is Zach Rogers. Yikes! Rogers made the move low. LaPlante tried to move up to give him room, and then he nearly doored James Qualls. That was a close call there through 3 and 4. Want to know what it's like driving around this racetrack? Let's go on board our helmet cam, courtesy of Benny Watson, for a lap around the Springfield Mile. how close quarter that racing is. We almost had a wreck between Carter Friesen and Zach Rogers, and we almost got a front row view of it. Well, this is good to see. Michael Norman and Ryan Brommer, remember the two of them hit the pit wall when they came to pit lane. They got back out, they were still on the lead lap, and even with the damage on the left side of their cars, they're up here inside the top 25. Norman's in 20th, and Ryan Brommer's about the 22nd position right now, so obviously that damage not really hindering them, and it didn't put them a lap down. So that's at least a little bit of encouragement for me right there, but we still haven't had our green flag pit stop, so it may not yet be time to say, oh, it's all okay, it's all good. Cody Lamas just broke out. Actually, no, Cody Lamas just got lapped. I don't know what happened to him, but Cody Lamas, remember, he pitted on the last caution, the only caution we've had so far, and I don't know if he lost the draft or what happened, but all of a sudden that car's off the pace and he has dropped off the lead lap, so now he's a lap down with Johnny Gardner. I thought he was up the second, but nope. He got passed by Matt Haas and put a lap down. Jack Mitchell's actually the one in second place right now. And then Ryan Butcher currently is in third. He's in a battle right now with Carson Gum for that spot. Mitchell Collins might make it a three-man fight in just a moment. Almost 2 seconds Matt Haas has over second place. It might be 2 seconds this time around, as we are now at the halfway point of this race. 2.15 seconds from Matt Haas back to Jack Mitchell. Right now, our top two looking for their first Duracell Cup Series victory. Just saw a name pop up in the top 10. How about Casey Nanico? In the first 5 races of the season, he was dead last in points, average finish of 32nd. Last week at Bristol, he brought it home with a top 10 finish. And now he's up in the top 10 again, currently in 8th place. The top 10 he got last week was actually a top 5 also. And that jumped him out of dead last in points up to 39th. Guess who that put in the 40th position? The guy who's running second right now. The 0-1 of Jack Mitchell. Had a good battle there between Seth Cole, the 72, the rookie in the 21, Marcus Sacchi, who I'm certain has been told that Cody Lamas has fallen a lap down. So Marcus Sacchi, who not only came into this race tied for the rookie points lead with Cody Lamas, but also is up to 6th in the overall point standings. It has been a great start to the year for Marcus Sacchi, and really, if you look at the point standings, it's actually been a really good season so far for the maiden voyage of Team Chevy Autosport. They've got a win this season already at Atlanta with Carson Gum. You got Marcus Sacchi up there, 6th in the point standings, and then the other rookie driver, Derek Hamill, he's not doing all that bad either. He's 27th in the points, actually gained 6 spots in the standings last week, and speak of the devil, there he is, right now in the 8th spot. So, Team Chevy Autosport, I'll tell you what, they may be a brand new team this season, but they definitely have come into this season with a purpose, and so far they're delivering. That was very interesting to see. Seth Cole and Derek Hamill with this 2019 rules package, using the draft on the outside line down the back straightaway to almost get Derek Hamill around his teammate Sacchi for the spot, and he's actually going to get it off turn 4. Now crosses over onto Seth Cole for what would be 6th. Meanwhile, Jack Mitchell might have some company. Ryan Butcher right behind him, as they both just made their way around the lap machine of Cody Lamas. That drops Lamas back to 40th as Johnny Gardner got around him. I think the caution may be out again. Thought I just saw the yellow lights on. And indeed, we are under caution. So, nearing 20 laps to go, our second yellow flag of the day comes out. And again, a colored flag that I'm certain Matt Haas did not want to see. This is going to be interesting too, because this might put these drivers now in the window to come to pit road and be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. Drivers at the tail end of the field right now, William Brock, Benjamin Miles, Sebastian Kukelin. I don't really see anybody with damage, though, so I don't necessarily know who it was that brought out the caution. And all the lead lap cars will probably hit pit road this time. Cody Lamas was probably hoping this race would go green, as he was a little bit better on fuel than most of the others. He pitted under the last caution. And we'll come back, find out if anybody gets stuck with a pit road glitch or not, and we'll give you a full field rundown as well. But for now, we're going to go back and take a look at a replay of what brought out the second caution of the day here at Springfield. And it looks like Matt Haas may have missed his pit stall. He did. He overshot his pit box. And now he's blocking the entire pit road, and he just got hit by Ryan Butcher. Michael Norman might have been a gas and go for him. He just gained a lot of spots, and that was a driver that, let's not forget, pitted under the last caution as well. Oh man, this is going to be a very interesting restart to find out who's going to line up where. For now, let's go back and take a look at a replay. This was a battle around the 15th position, and it involves our winner from a couple weeks ago at ISM, Kyle Matthews. He's racing side by side with teammate Charles Sanford. Carter Friesen drives it deep into turn one. I don't think Kyle Matthews even knew that Friesen had that big of a run. He comes down and blocks him. And he's going to go around off the nose of the 37, up the racetrack, and gets it pretty good there with the left side of his Cincinnati Reds Chevy Camaro. Almost gets hit there by both Benny Watson and Austin LaPlante. That was close. But he does get it refired and does continue on. Kyle Matthews, who finished a lap down in the Bristol race last week, dropped in the point standings to 19th. This was not what he needed, as he was trying to get back on track to kind of counter that poor performance at Bristol last week. But I'll tell you what, a team that really dropped the ball, and that was Matt Haas overshooting his pit stall. That's going to lose him the race lead and maybe much, much more, as I believe Ryan Butcher's going to be our race leader as we go back to green. Let's go now back for the restart with less than 20 to go here at Springfield. Yeah, no doubt about it. This pit road definitely causes some issues for drivers, and Ryan Butcher is going to be the race leader over Michael Norman. Now remember, Michael Norman pitted under the last caution along with Cody Lamas and I believe it was Ryan Brommer. So they didn't have to spend as long on pit road, I don't think, as most of these others. So Norman will line up in second. Mitchell Collins is third. Fourth place is going to be Jordan Lopez. Fifth is Benny Watson. Sixth, Matt McIntyre. Seventh, Seth Cole. Eighth, Chris Dollerton. Ninth, Ryan Acosta. And right now, Carson Gum completes the top 10. Then it's Wyatt Quayle, 11th. Jose Mills, last week's winner, is 12th. Levi McIntyre, 13th. 14th, Keith Batson. 15th, Zach Rogers. 16th is Cole Baker. 17th, Jessica Shelton. 18th is Kyle Matthews. Dylan Young, 19th. Benjamin Miles, and 20th. Then it's Matthew Rodriguez, Jesse Turner, Sebastian Kukulon, Derek Campbell, Vince Elriego, your top 25. Jack Mitchell, 26th, 27th, Ryan Brommer, 28th, Marcus Sachi, 29th, Casey Nanico, 30th is Matt Haas, and 31st is Trey Wright. I believe those are the last cars on the lead lap right now. Some drivers just now getting their laps back, like Cody Lamas. Friesen just got his lap back, Johnny Gardner just got his lap back, and so too did James Qualls. Adam Garcia's a lap down, Austin LaPlante, Charles Sanford, and Alexander Rowe are all off the lead lap. We do have a driver out of the race as well. That is William Brock. He will finish in 40th, the driver that came into this race second in the points, and I can only assume that was due to something that might have happened on pit road. We just had a lead change there. Michael Norman got around Ryan Butcher for the top spot and just door banged Carter Friesen as well going into turn one. And I believe the caution might be out. And if it is, that's a big break for those drivers that were ahead of the race leader. Yes, caution is out. So Friesen, Qualls, Lamas, Gardner, they're all back on the lead lap now, because they were able to get around the 18 and cross the start-finish line ahead of him. Now, I don't think that these drivers will be hitting pit road for the remainder of this race. I think that at the time of that caution, they're good to go, so we won't have any issues, I don't think, of pit road glitches from here to the remainder of the finish. Yep, nobody's coming to pit lane. I saw Ryan Acosta on pit road. I don't know if he might have been the one to bring out the caution or not. Got drivers back here with damage, but a lot of these drivers have this damage because of the incident that on pit road of trying to get into their pit stall. So we will go back, try and figure out what brought out this caution, as Michael Norman currently leads the way. And with the aid of this caution, we don't have to use the NSCRA split cam. We can actually take a full in-depth replay and see what happened to William Brock to take him out of this race. Here he is coming to pit road. He's behind Keith Batson, just ahead of his teammate Benjamin Miles. There's a bit of a stack up here as everybody was waiting for, I think that was Chris Dollerton to get into his pit stall. And then Keith Batson's going to turn left to his pit stall, spins Jesse Turner around. And then William Brock, I don't think this was Brock's pit stall. I think he was still having to continue to his pit stall. And Keith Batson forces him in against the pit wall. And then watch what happens here. I believe the 39 is going to respawn again. Oh, no, he's not. He's actually going to force that 88 over the wall and up into the pit box. And that is why William Brock was out of this race. He teleported to his pit stall. You can see the left, right, roof, front damage. As that car was literally squeezed out of this race. And here's what brought out the caution going down to turn 3. Looks like Ryan Acosta was actually trying to get low to go to pit road, but all these drivers here were trying to get positions. And contact there with Dylan Young's going to send the 10 around right up in front of rookie Sebastian Kukulon, who had absolutely nowhere to go. It's right in front of Casey Nanico as well. Unfortunately, it was just a 2-car incident, but I think Ryan Acosta was trying to get down to the bottom of the track to come to pit lane, and nobody was willing to let him down. So that's what brought out the caution. Now let's go back for the restart. I think we're going to have more than 10 laps to go, but we'll have to wait and see. And the reason I was questioning if we will have more than 10 laps to go is for what you see down there on the inside line. They will have lap traffic to deal with once again. Austin LaPlante, Adam Garcia, Charles Sanford, Alexander Rowe on the inside line. Cody Lamas is still a lap down as well. He had just raced his way back on the tail end of the lead lap, but I think he had to come to pit lane because he stayed out under the last caution. And Vince Almriega was also a lap down in the 42. William Brock still the only driver out of the race at this point. That's a tough break for him as he came in second in the points, was trying to take over the points lead heading into the track that he got his first Duracell Cup Series win at next week, Sonoma Raceway. Green flag back in the air. I believe we went back green with 12 laps to go. Ryan Butcher stuck on that outside line with those lap cars. That has allowed Michael Norman for the moment to be able to get away. Now the battle is on for second. Mitchell Collins down in the bottom, puts his teammate Adam Garcia in the middle. Butcher way up high. And here comes Chris Dollerton. Dollerton, with his championship season last year, only had one victory, and it came at a dirt track, Fuel Motorsports Park. He's up right now in the 4th position. And Benny Watson is up here as well. Remember, he finished runner-up to Dylan Pote 1 year ago. How about Kyle Matthews? Matthews brought out the caution before the last caution, and now he's back up in the top 10. Going 3 wide there with the lap car of Alexander Rowe as well as Jordan Lopez. That is a battle for the 5th position, and he will get it. Meanwhile, back up towards the front, Mitchell Collins trying to go to work on these lap machines so that way he can start reeling in Michael Norman. Now, Norman's got that left side damage. Don't know if that's hindering his speed at all or not. Don't see any damage whatsoever on the 22 of Collins. So we'll see if Collins can run faster lap times than Michael Norman as soon as he can get himself cleared of Charles Sanford, who is still fighting on that outside line. We'll compare lap times this time by as 1.5 seconds was the gap from Norman back to Collins last time around. Norman hits the line with a 32.545. Collins 33.069, and he's still having to deal with Charles Sanford on that inside line. The gap increased by another half second from Norman back to Mitchell Collins. Michael Norman comes into this race currently 28th in points. Still looking for his first win of his Duracell Cup Series career, and for a brief moment there I thought he might be coming to pit road. He really let out of the gas in the center of the corner. Don't look now. This might be one of the fastest cars on the track. Kyle Matthews. As a matter of fact, that last time by, he ran his fastest lap of the race. A 32.681. And we'll see if he can get up here and bypass Mitchell Collins and his teammate Charles Sanford. Sanford is a lap down. This is going to be a battle for second, and we'll see if Kyle Matthews has anything maybe for Michael Norman, if he can get past Collins for the runner-up spot. He's running about a tenth faster than Michael Norman. Norman hits the line 32.783, 33.2 for Collins, and a 32.7 for Kyle Matthews. So he is definitely faster than the 22. He's just having difficulty with traffic right now. And the bad thing for Kyle Matthews is he's running out of time. It's going to be 6 to go when Michael Norman hits the stripe this next time by. How about some of these guys popping up here in the top 10, the closing stages? Dollarton's up to 5th. How about Jesse Turner? Turner's up to 6th right now in that Aflac Ford. Levi McIntyre now up to 7th. Matt McIntyre in 8th. How about James Qualls now going for the 8th position? Qualls finished 3rd here a year ago. And now he's up in the top 10. Carter Friesen's right there in the 37. He's currently in 9th. Zach Rogers, Cole Baker, that's a battle for the 11th spot. Carson Gum in that mix as well. Jump back up to the front as we're getting close to the end of this race. Both Mitchell Collins and Kyle Matthews got around the lap car of Charles Sanford. Now Matthews will go to work on the 22, and he's got to make this pass quick. He's got to make this pass quickly, and he's got to make sure that he gets away, because if he doesn't, there's no way he's going to be able to run down Michael Norman. Here he goes to the bottom. But even if he gets by, he's going to have to make up over a 3-second deficit on Michael Norman, which means he'd have to basically be a second faster a lap, and he's only maybe a 10th faster than Michael Norman each lap. You can see how the tires wear off quickly. Michael Norman was running 32.6s a few laps ago, and now he just ran a 32.9. But the good news for him is the best battle is going on for second place between Kyle Matthews and Mitchell Collins. Kyle Matthews is 19th in points. Mitchell Collins is 8th in points. Matthews already has a win. Collins looking for one this season. But Michael Norman looking for the first of his career. So far this season for trips to victory lane, it has been Chevy, Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Ford. So I think it's about time another Toyota went to victory lane, and Michael Norman certainly trying to do that. Last year, Michael Norman had so many second-place finishes. And a lot of finishes up in the top 5 as well, in the hunt for the win. But he never was able to close the deal. Made the decision with co-owner Matthew Rodriguez to move Michael Norman Motorsports over to Toyota Camrys this season. And right now, it's definitely looking like that was a good choice for them, as he is just 2 laps away from his first Duracell Cup Series checkered flag. Kyle Matthews did. Well, hold on. Did he just come to pit road? Some drivers did. Yeah, Qualls is in, Dollarton, Mills, Miles, Young, as well as Kyle Matthews. Some of these guys couldn't make it on fuel. What about Michael Norman, though? Can he make it on fuel? Oh, he's slowing. He's slowing, but he stays in it. He'll see the white flag this time by. Collins stays out as well. How about this? Carter Friesen makes it 3 wide to take 3rd place away from Jesse Turner, as some drivers could not make it on fuel in the closing stages of this race. Michael Norman, does he have enough fuel to make it to the start-finish line? He's got almost a 5-second lead back to Mitchell Collins, as through 3 and 4, Michael Norman, damaged car and all, he'll get his first career Duracell Cup Series victory, and he'll take the checkered flag here today in the Harley-Davidson 500. Collins in 2nd. Looks like Friesen may have gotten 3rd, Turner in 4th, and the pole sitter Matt Haas is going to bring it home in 5th place, followed by Matt McIntyre, Ryan Acosta, Levi McIntyre, Zach Rogers, and it looks like Marcus Sachi is going to complete the top 10. How about Michael Norman? He will finally snap what was a 42 race winless streak and pick up the checkered flag here today at Springfield. And remember, Michael Norman was one of 3 drivers that came to pit road under the first caution. Everybody else stayed out. The 3 drivers came to pit road were Cody Lamas, Ryan Brommer, and Michael Norman. And Michael Norman, I think that definitely allowed him, when that second caution came out, to get track position and put him in position to get up here and take this win. But even then, even after he had made that pit stop, he had fought his way up into the top 20. So Norman had a strong race car, no doubt about that. So he will pick up the win. It's the first win of the season for Michael Norman Motorsports. Mitchell Collins will bring it home in second. Carter Friesen, great dogfight there between him and Jesse Turner. He won out, though, to get third. Turner will have to settle for fourth. Great run there for Matt Haas. Matt Haas really faded back there. Of course, he had that issue on pit road where he overshot his pit stall from the race lead. Still managed to battle back for a fifth-place finish. Matt McIntyre, great run for him there in sixth. Seventh place for Ryan Acosta. He was 10 points back from Benjamin Miles and William Brock, and Miles could not make it on fuel. He had to pit. William Brock DNF, so Ryan Acosta may have just taken the points lead back over again. Levi McIntyre, great run for him there in 8th place. 9th place for Zach Rogers, so another solid outing for that 6 car as he is steadily making his way up through the point standings. Last week he gained 11 positions up to 15th, and he will probably now be up in the top 10 in the points. And Marcus Sachi, the good finishes continue for him as he brings it home in 10th, and his teammates not too far behind. 12th for Derek Campbell, Carson Gum there in 13th. The book in that bookend is Cole Baker. The 11 finishes 11th. So our Daytona 500 winner continues on with his good finishes. Finally gets a good performance here at Springfield as he basically got screwed out of a good finish last year in this event. Matthew Rodriguez brings it home with a great run of 14th, so he'll stay in the top 10 in points. And clean your top 15 was Jordan Lopez. Then it was Casey Nanico, Jessica Shelton, Sebastian Kukulon, Benny Watson, and Wyatt Quayle. The rest of your top 20. We had 26 cars finish on the lead lap. Kyle Matthews was the last of those. Matthews was in second when he could not make it on fuel. He had to pit. Most of these other drivers that finished a lap down also could not make it on fuel. Sanford, Dylan Young, Jose Mills, last week's winner, Johnny Gardner, Austin LaPlante, James Qualls, Adam Garcia, Cody Lamas, Vince Almriego, Alexander Rowe. Ryan Butcher finished 2 laps down in 37th. Chris Dallerton, who was up inside the top 10 when he came to pit lane, 3 laps down for him in 38th, so certainly not the run the defending champ was looking for. And Benjamin Miles, who came into this race the points leader, is going to finish the day out in 39th. William Brock, who was only 6 points behind Miles, was looking to battle for the points lead as well, will finish in 40th. So my calculations are correct. Ryan Acosta, with his finish here today up inside the top 10, will be taking the points lead back over, heading into next week. But Michael Norman is the man of the hour. So far this season, we have had 2 drivers pick up their first career victories. Cole Baker in the Daytona 500 and Michael Norman here today at Springfield. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's race from Springfield. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full feature results, and these are your point standings heading into next week as we will go to wine country for the windy, elevated road course of Sonoma. That's going to be a wild one. If you remember last year, William Brock won that race on fuel strategy. We'll see if fuel mileage will come into play in that race next week. But until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NCRA Offline Racing as Best. Michael Norman takes the checkered flag here at the Dirt Slingin' Springfield Mile. You've been watching a production of the NCRA Offline Racing as Best. We'll see you guys next week.